Alright guys, welcome back. Today's episode, I'm going to be going through the different types of jigs and when you would want to fish them. I know I had this question when I first began fishing, so hopefully this clears up for you guys. To start off, there are three main styles of baits. You have your football heads, your standard plain jigs here, and then your swim jigs. Each style of jig has a different head type. The swim jig, I have three colors here, has more of this sort of bullet shaped head here. It is used to covering like when it's still cold out but there's still some grass and the fish are hung up in that grass, but it's too thick of grass for a spinner bait or a chatterbait. That's when I would throw the swim jig. It's narrow head and the weed guard helps keep it so that there are no weeds are attracted to it, like it does not get hung up easily. And I have three colors. I have a bluegill with rattles in the 1/4 ounce, a pearl color with rattles in the 1/4 ounce, and then a sexy shad color also in 1 ounce, but this does not have any rattles on it. The next style I'm going to go over is the football jig. This one, the head's very simple. It's easy to recognize. It looks like a football. Got this wide base here for a head. I like to throw these around rocks or if I'm trying to feel out the bottom. It's typically they're a heavier jig, so you can cast them farther. And if I get to a new pond and I don't have any way of like, oh, what does the bottom feel like? Because I forgot my eye bobber at home, I pull out my football jig, I throw it out there, and I like to drag it across the bottom. These work especially well through rock piles and brush. I have two different colors, a green pumpkin with a black and blue double-tailed trailer, and then a white one with two hooks instead of the normal one, and this has just a crawfish trailer. The final jig type is just your standard jig. I have three different jigs here. They're all the same size, a 1/4 ounce, and as you can see, their head is not nearly as wide as the football jig head, and it's not nearly as cylindrical as the swimming jig head. These are used for like your everyday use, just if you just want to cast it out there and bounce it off the bottom through rocks. If you're fishing brush, just a lot of times I catch my fish on these ones if I'm not throwing the swim jig. And for these ones I have a black and blue with a green pumpkin double-tailed trailer, sort of a green pumpkin with a Yum Christy Craw trailer in the green pumpkin, and a bluegill color with a havoc trailer. And for when you want to pick out trailers, they don't necessarily have to match the color of your jig. Like for instance, this is a black and blue jig, but I put a green pumpkin trailer on here. This one here, green pumpkin trailer, or green pumpkin jig with a black and blue trailer. Sexy shad with just a regular old minnow on here. I picked this up at a fishing convention. And then even for white ones, I put a crawfish on here. The main purpose I use for jigs is trying to imitate crawfish. That's why a lot of my trailers here look like craws. In my previous video, if you guys saw that, I caught almost a 4-pounder off this one. I threw it out there and was just letting it sit to the bottom, and it was sitting up this like this. And so these little legs here are just moving in the water, and they look almost like a craw, like the craws of a crawdad. And that fish just came up and smoked it. And that's it, guys. Hope that was useful for you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And as always, make sure you subscribe.